Hey guys, how's it going? Well, it's a dark, windy, stormy night out there, so I'm safely in here with my fan collection. I thought I would show you my small collection of fans, obviously, and show you what they are. I know there's some fan aficionados out there that like these kind of things. And before we go any further, I feel like it's my duty to explain why that my recliner there, love seat recliner, is missing one of the backs to it. It's actually over there. Well, that's because that broke. And I didn't break it, but a piece of the wood in here broke. And so it does not stay where it's supposed to be any longer. So I got to repair that. And as a matter of fact, I didn't pay for this thing. I didn't steal it either. It was on the side of the road outside of an apartment complex. I guess when that thing broke, they just couldn't sit there and watch no TV no more, so they put it out by the road. So I happened along in my pickup truck and swooped in and grabbed it. The thing's almost brand new, still got the paperwork with it. But that doesn't make any difference, it's still broken, so it still has to be fixed. So anyway, since the pandemic has struck, I don't go to these antique stores very often anymore for that very reason, but I still do occasionally, and I like going to antique stores because I usually find something really interesting that I like there. And you have to be careful about these antique stores because some of these, the ones around here, they run them, they've got just different booths in them, I guess you could say booths, and they rent those out, and people put in whatever they want in their booth, and so you have to watch because sometimes they'll load things up in there, put things in there that, even though it's called an antique store, it's obviously not an antique. So you just need to be wary of that. So when you see like these old Coca-Cola signs and thermometers and things like that, they look like they are. They're not. They're reproductions, and no telling where they were made at. But they're cheap reproductions also. So I'm just, when I go through these places, I'm not usually looking up or anything like that. I'm always looking like at the floor. I'm looking in the corners, looking in behind things, because that's just about how I found every one of these fans. It's kind of, it's kind of didn't look too nice, so they just kind of stuck it in the corner over there. They want the pretty stuff out front. So anyway, enough of that. I went to one when I was out this week working, and picked up that fan. So the rest of these I've had for various lengths of time. I think I've had that one the longest, that one the second longest, that one the third longest, and just got that one. So enough yabbering about it. Let's look and see what we got. I have my trusty headlamp on here so I can shed some light on this if I need be. So the first fan I have is a small desk type fan that does not oscillate. It has got a brand on the front of it called Lee-Aire, and let me get the light going here. So a Lee-Aire fan, I can do this without washing things out, hopefully. And it was the way you see it when I got it. It was, the motor cover is popped loose on it. It's not broken. It's got looks like it's got a one position switch on it that appears to function. But it's weathered. It's got kind of a brown, kind of a wrinkle finish on it. It's used to see a lot. The blades look like they might have been chrome at one point. They're kind of surface rusted. I hope those will come back. Has sort of an Art Deco base, and nothing on the bottom that identifies it otherwise. There's just nothing in there. So anyway, it's supposed to have 3 little feet on it, but it does turn, but kind of stiffly. Doesn't really move, but it's probably been sitting somewhere damp for a long time, so it needs restored, and hopefully I'll do that here coming up. As always, I've been kind of preoccupied with car stuff always. So it does have a regular sort of synthetic rubber cord on it, I guess. The regular type of, it's not new, but this type of more modern plug that is broken in half. And as you can see, trying to work with this light a little bit here. You can see the wire's broken out of it, so it's going to need a cord on it. There we go. All right, that's it. This is kind of just a generic fan. I would estimate its age at probably the mid-1950s, maybe a little bit newer. And that's about all I know about it. Now we get to this big guy. This fan is much more well known. This is a Emerson electric fan, and I know exactly what this is. This is a Series 77 or 77 series, whatever you want to refer it as. I believe this is a 12-inch fan. They made these in different flavors. They made some in 12. They made some in, I think they made them in 8-inch and 12-inch and 16-inch. This, I believe, is a 12-inch, even though the number on the motor doesn't agree with that. But I think this is not an oscillating fan, but it is. Looks like it's got a lever down here that has several detents I can feel. At least 1, 2, 3. Let me try that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 6 or 7 at least. So I don't know what that does yet. But be careful on my floor here. Turn it around. It has it's got some old wiring on it. As you can see, going from the, I guess that's the switch down there, obviously, because that's where the wiring comes out from. It goes in and comes out of. It's missing a strain relief right there, I guess you could call it, or grommet. Something's up. This cord has been added because it's a more modern style of cord, and it's got this ugly plug on it. So I'm sure that's not what it had originally. I'm trying to be careful with my headlamp, not wash this out. I'm sorry if I do. Well, it's got a knob here. Maybe this does oscillate. I'll tell you, I don't know anything about these, so forgive me. You can help me. You can help me understand if you would. But it looks like it's got some original, that looks like cloth-covered wire there, which is in poor condition. The lady, when I bought it, she said, well, I think we tried to plug this in. It didn't work. And she was going to pick it up like she's going to try to plug it in. I said, no, ma'am, that's okay. You don't have to plug it in. Because I could just see her plugging it in, and all the lights go out. Interesting tidbit. When I was in there, we were at the desk up there. Well, I was in the back of the place looking around, and I heard them shouting up there, and somebody was trying to unload something out of a truck out front, and they backed into the front of the building and knocked one of the posts off. Goons. It has an oil port here, looks like. You can see there. So here's the data plate on this thing, and I'm going to have to kind of see what I can do here with the lighting. I'll get it. Hang on. You may not be able to see much here with this, but there we go. So that's the model number right there. That's 77648-AS. And I know what year this is because I don't know if this camera is going to like this, trying to do this way, but come on, you can do it. Oh, please. Let me try something here. Let's see. There we go. Usually this camera's better about that. Okay, if you look down, or maybe not, but anyway, on the end right there, there's a stamped in number, which this camera's just not going to agree with unless I get this. Okay, there we go. I think maybe. Okay, anyway, that one says 29. It's very faint to see on here, but it says 29 right there. And you add 20 to that, and that tells you the year of manufacture. So this is a 1949 fan. And it looks like it's already been painted once. Not very well. So anyway, so it needs restored also. Very interesting. I'll tell you what I paid for this, and it may be too much, but I paid $70 for this fan. And I was going to buy it anyway for that price, but I found one that was just like it on further up towards the front of the building, and it had $185 on it. So I thought, well, I'll go with the one that's $70, and I'll be glad I did. So this next one, this is an interesting fan that you don't see very often anymore. This is what's called a Hasik fan, just a 4-blade fan here, and this one is unfortunately missing part of it. There's supposed to be a round, like a pan type of thing that's a deflector that bolts in, and somebody has removed it, I guess, because they thought it didn't have sufficient airflow. But it's missing that. But that's what this is called. It's referred to as a Hasik fan, and this one is a Kisco Circulaire model 7000 R30. And as seen on the plate here, it is the successor to the fan, even though it is a fan itself. It's the successor to the fan, and it has a very long cord on it. It looks original. And as you can see, it's not in very good condition. So in there, the wiring is pretty sketchy, and the cord itself, it's cracked. So how would you like to plug that in your bedroom and let it run all night? So again, it needs restoration. It's kind of bent up a little bit around here. But I Googled pictures of this thing, and there's several pictures you can find on the internet of these, but I didn't see one that has this kind of a grate on it. This probably was a much brighter gold originally. Gold! And maybe this was black or brown. But anyway, I'll show you the motor on it if I can pick it up carefully. Nothing they made back in those days was light, I'll tell you that. It's trying to rotate on me. So, don't know much about electric motors. It's got a switch box here. It's a 3-speed. That is very loose. I only count like 2 clicks, but anyway, so that's the switch for it. It's got some, looks like a lacquered wiring going in there. It's dirty. And it's got these neat things. There's 2 little parts that unscrew. I'm assuming these are oil ports here. So you can't see that from my big hand in the way, but you take this out. That's what it looks like, so I'm sure that's what it is. If not, you guys can tell me what it is. So anyway, I've not tested this, obviously. I don't know if it works at all. And I'm not, quite frankly, I'm not enthusiastic about trying to see if it works before I work on it. So it won't break my heart if I pass on that. So this one, now I've made a video about this fan before, and it works very nicely, even though I think this is supposed to be a 2-speed fan, and it is no longer a 2-speed fan. I think it's just a 1-speed switch. What's going on there? But it does work. Runs well, runs quietly, doesn't vibrate. But in the original video, I misidentified this fan. I think I said that was about a 1955 Montgomery Ward fan. That's incorrect. Based on a lot of Googling and a lot of comparing of pictures to what I have here, I think I have correctly narrowed this down to being a 1958 or 59 Lasco Breezemaker. It's missing the tag. There was a circular plate affixed right here that would say that, Lasco, or something like that. So, anyway, I think that's what it is, Lasco, yeah. Now, what's interesting is this one they actually made these fans in a version they called oscillating. Your redneck showing. Oscillating fan. And you may ask yourself, well, how in the world does a box fan, a box fan oscillate? Well, what happens is it has these louvers or shutters that are behind the safety guard here, and one way or another, I don't know how, it's probably got a gearbox arrangement, but I guess they operate back and forth. I've never seen one of those in person. I'd like to have one, but Um, anyway, so this one, I don't know what, I may not do anything with this one except just use it periodically. Because it's, like I said, it's all, looks, I don't know, may have been painted, but that sure looks like the original type of paint on it. So I may just leave this one as just sort of a, the way it is. But these I'll have to do some fixing up on, all that. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this look at these fans that I have. I actually have one more fan out that I've been using in the garage, and I feel bad about using it because it's actually an antique now. It's a 1968 box fan that needs to be restored, so I don't think I'll use it in the garage again this year. I think I'll just use it as, a keepsake. And I don't do, I don't collect very many things. I collect fans and I collect flip clock radios and some other little things, odds and ends. I just don't do a lot of it because I don't like to collect inanimate objects because they just don't hold my interest. I'm just not a person to have a lot of stuff on the shelf just sitting there. And I'm not a hoarder. I don't have the compulsion just to buy things and, either stack them up in here or buy cars or stuff or trucks or whatever and mowers and whatever all this stuff is people impulsively collect. They say, well, I got 20 cars out here, 25 lawnmowers or 20 trucks out here, and I've saved all of them. I have to ask, when you bring something like that to your place and you park it out there and it sits in the weather for another 10 years, I don't know that you saved it. I think you just prolonged its agony. It's still dying. You're just extending the time it takes for it to happen. So I don't do that. So I'm try to be very disciplined. So, and sometimes I turn my collections over. When I get bored with something, I'll sell off and I'll be able to make a nice bit of money off stuff. So anyway, all right, guys. Well, enough talking. Enough of my personal philosophy on life. I hope everybody's doing well. I've been busy these days and just hadn't really had much time to get a video together that's any better than this one. So I hope you like it. And that's my thrift store television over there, still going strong. And my thrift store Blu-ray player. How about that? Okay. I'll see you around. Everybody have a good one. Stay safe, stay dry. And look for you then.